Why hello, I'm Leo. We all know of the 9 art style challenge, don't we? It's been around for years and most every artist on YouTube has done it. I wanted to do it myself as my own art style has been fluctuating recently and I have become lost for what I want to do with it. So I wanted to experiment using my OC Wisterian as our today's test subject, starting with my own style. So to begin with, I drew my boy in what I call my presentable style. I use this when I'm trying to make more objectively pretty art with thin lines and colorful shading, for which I use a more painterly textured brush to add personality. The only part I truly like of this style are the colors, as the line art and stylization aren't interesting to me in the least. I have 3 other main styles that are currently on screen. The hyper-rendered one, the pretty style, and a super cutesy one, and an in-between for the 2 previously mentioned styles. Each similar to another but different enough to not be recognizable as the former. My goal in this challenge is to see what styles I gravitate towards and begin working towards 1 or 2 corners of this chart. Honestly, I've sparsely ever had a consistent style. From one transitional state to another, I have the skills but not the creativity required to create a truly special art style that fits me. So I wanted to try to narrow down my options. I'll check back in after each drawing and place each style based on which one I think they fit most. Let the challenge begin! My Little Pony. Second, we have a style from my childhood that I adored. It does a great job at having unique characters with contrasting personalities. The art style itself didn't influence my art other than drawing a couple of FNAF ponies as a kid or doing these AUs where I draw my OCs as ponies. I've actually drawn both Wisterian and Angel as ponies before, which I'll put on screen. Wisterian was going to be a unicorn no matter what, as it perfectly suits his scholarly personality. I also decided to make his cutie mark a scroll for the same reason, and I decided to name him Spica Star, as Spica is the brightest star in the Virgo constellation. But for this one, I was struggling to choose between pink and orange, as both looked fine, but in the end the orange won out and I decided to keep pink skin for our next style. The My Little Pony style is unique to me for its combining of both round and sharp shapes, and I've also always liked the colored line art, which can actually be seen in my cutesy style. The highlight that I think sets it apart from others is the cutie marks. How much I love those. Imagine if humans could have them too. I wish I could know my own fate, and I'm sure others would too. Besides, it would be so cute to just have one on your side. Here's what I think mine would be. Though this is an old drawing. Anyway, enough about me, here's the finished drawing. I think I'm gonna place this style on the cutesy side. Third is Steven Universe. For this one I have to be honest, I haven't actually watched Steven Universe, but I have seen so many shorts and long-form analysis videos to get the story and admire the characters. I just love the gemstone idea because gems are also an important part of my own story as well. My favorite of the designs and personalities in Steven Universe is Blue Diamond, a scene. I used her as one of my references for this. The most interesting part is that this isn't even the first time I have drawn Wisterian as Blue Diamond, but the last time was... it haunts me. Now in this AU, I imagine Wisterian would be a rubellite tourmaline, as that's the gemstone that he wears in his canon story. It is said to look different colors in different lighting, and I wanted to push that idea to a maximum by making it shine in all the warm colors from yellow to purple. I carried over this concept and gave Wisterian his blonde hair, as in canon his hair changes to this color when using the power of his gemstone, and it fits with the usually light hair of the Steven Universe characters. And I'll place this somewhere in the middle. It's not super cutesy, but it's not really realistic either. Fourth, Genshin Impact. Genshin, I always keep coming back to this game, don't I? Making OCs or AUs for already existing ones for Genshin is something that I have done for years, and this isn't even the first time Wisterian has gotten this AU. In my opinion, he would be from Sumeru, as it closest represents the Middle East. He would also be a student of the academia studying astronomy. or whatever they officially called it. I imagine he would graduate in less than a decade. That would allow him to mirror his canon story quite closely, and that's what I would prefer. He would be an electro character as he aligns with the idea of eternity by seeking immortality in canon, and knowing his noodle arms, he could only be a catalyst or sword user at best. The design is not fully what I think he would look like in Genshin, but if I made him a full, fleshed out design, then I would be here for another month, so for what it is, I think it represents my idea. Genshin can go somewhere about here on the more humanly proportioned side, however it has little to no shading, so it's hard to say what it's closest to. 5th, Danganronpa. Another game I keep going back to no matter how toxic the fandom is. I feel that 2020 was probably the worst of it, and it has left its marks in people's heads. This one was extremely easy to me, as last month I made my own Danganronpa game cover for a school assignment, so I got a lot of experience with the style, but to see those designs you're gonna have to stay tuned for the future. I tried to not use the design I already made for him and edited it to look more like his ancient design before his reincarnation. In my Danganronpa, I made him the protagonist as he is the ultimate historian and would have an easier time figuring things out with the help of the ultimate actor, Angel. In my Danganronpa, I made the reincarnated Wisterian the ultimate historian because he dedicates his life to his museum, and that's how he learned of the old Wisterian and chose his name after transitioning. But on the contrary, I think this old Wisterian would be the ultimate fortune teller or the ultimate clairvoyant, which I know already exists, but both characters have such different relations to it that I'll allow it. Otherwise, I would make him the ultimate astronomer, which also already exists in my other OC, Leslie. The style itself isn't too different from Genshin Impact, but it's more stylized and has more important shadows, and both considered this a dark-skinned person, which did limit me to what I could make Wisterian look like since he is on the tan side. Anyway, I would place this style about here-ish. Next up is Cookie Run Kingdom. Cookie Run Kingdom is a game I have played on and off for the past 5 years. It has such great potential for making OCs with almost infinite possibilities of food items and other concepts. I like its character design, and the characters are so interesting. I'm not much of a lore reader, but the art of the game keeps me entertained and coming back for more. As for my little scholar boy, I decided to base him off of mulberry wine, as I think it's something he would like with his expensive tastes. And alcoholic tastes, as he isn't exactly the most sober or morally upright. The drink is also a dark reddish-purple color, so it fits with his more violet color scheme and allows me to make him look more accurate to both himself and also the game's art style. At least that's the plan, as he is currently being rewritten into a villain that he was always supposed to be. But no more spoilers, no more spoilers. Cookie Run's art style is one where most of the inspo comes from the designs themselves, as they're all being drawn in the same style. Cookie Run Kingdom is definitely closest to being on the super cutesy style side, with its proportions and bright colors. Next up, we have Dandy's World. Okay, hear me out. Dandy's World is overhated. Its fandom is known for problematic stuff, as the past 6 also are, but this one is especially bad. But it's also because it's full of young children who are unable to realize the gravity of their actions, and it shouldn't be used to shame all of its fans. Because really, for a Roblox kids game, it's great. With its unique style of characters and survival gameplay, it has carved its spot into the top ranks. I have a soft spot for the Toons designs as they're so small and cute and I need plushies of all of them. I made Wisterian a scroll as that's the object I associate most with him, as seen with his cutie mark. While most Toons are naked, some do wear clothes like Sprout's scarf or Blot's shirt, so I kept Wisterian's dress by just simplifying it. Also, here's his stats I thought up while drawing. I think I'd be a non-main Toon who specializes in fast extraction while staying out of the way. It's also going in the cute corner. Next up we have Death Note. After the last one, this one is like having a bucket of ice water dumped over you. Recently, I have quite obviously been obsessed with Death Note, especially the manga, so I decided to try my hand at the style. In comparison to the others, this one is much more on the realistic side, with mostly accurate proportions and harsh shadows to add to the tone of the story, which is so interesting to me. I referenced Mikami for this one as both him and Wisterion have long black hair. Because Death Note characters have mostly straight hair, I made Wisterion's hair slightly straighter but still slightly wavy. Overall, it wasn't as hard as I assumed it would be, and it was a great refresher after all the cutesiness. It's so odd that someone like me would be interested in Death Note when you've seen what other interests I have, especially the last one, but something about it has captured me once again after half a decade. It's definitely going in the pretty corner, the corner in which I have drawn another Death Note character. Sure. Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Kobayashi's Dragon Maid was my second ever anime I watched when I got my first phone at like 7. At the time, I just saw it all so innocently and I was so happy to see girls kissing, I wonder why. Its adorable style inspired me a lot and has led me to have the style which I have today. Who doesn't love cute dragon girls doing cute things? Wisterion was originally planned to be more inspired by the two guys, but I ended up basing Wisterion more on the girls by making him a dragon, and that ended with me giving him big boobies for accuracy, of course, only for that. I made him after the Mushushu hybrid, who looks kind of like a dragon of ancient Mesopotamian mythology, as Wisterion was born semi-nearby in Elam in the city of Susa, so I imagine he would have heard of it before in his travels. That's why I gave him cute curly horns and a unicorn horn like the hybrid. This style is definitely going over here. Finally, we get to Toilet-bound Hanako-kun. The reason I was dreading to do this challenge was this art style. I was a huge fan of Toilet-bound Hanako-kun for years, and it changed my art a lot. But just remembering how detailed and beautiful the manga was, I felt horror at the idea of having to replicate it. The anime art style is a simpler version of the manga, but I can't tell if I prefer it with its warm colors or the manga with its gorgeous line art. In my old art, I was heavily inspired by the way the eyes and faces were drawn and the way they were proportioned in a way that it hindered my progress. But that's entirely on me. I decided that I would make Wisterion a simple student, as this is a story that's written airtight with its characters. I imagine he would go on his own journey, as he canonically can see all of the past and future. I think in this AU he could probably be able to see ghosts, and would probably try to research the 7 mysteries on his own and get in all sorts of trouble, maybe even getting in the main character's way. I'm mostly talking about the beginning of the story, as I haven't kept up with it for the past few years, and going back to read the wiki was certainly an interesting time. This style is clearly adorable and is totally going on the cutesy side. And here's all of the finished drawings. I don't place too much thought into the way I draw, just shaping lines to fit a feeling, so to say. To nail down what I truly like might be difficult, but at this point it's necessary. Here's what our little experiment resulted in. I combined the main 3 and I decided to leave the ultimate cuteness from when I'm drawing chibis and make the regular version look like this. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. Your presence was a joy to have. Also, before I go, I'm on Vgen now, so if you want to commission me, I'll be going live semi-soon, so you can keep tabs on that. Have a great day or night, happy 2026, and see you next time!